In this video, I will specifically be talking about self-supervision, its purpose and process, and why it is an essential tool in your practice of spiritual direction. Supervision helps spiritual directors look deeply into their interior life as spiritual directors, but also as persons. This contemplative and evocative process enables hidden feelings, areas of unfreedom, and other information to come to light. The more keenly aware you are as a spiritual director, the more you notice your interior movements, feel your own feelings, become aware of areas of unfreedom and struggle, and the more you savor your experiences with God, the more freely you will be able to offer these gifts to your directees. As you may know, there are several types of supervision that you can undertake. There is self-supervision, formal and informal individual supervision, peer group supervision, and facilitated group supervision. Self-supervision is the first step in this supervisory process and is undertaken before you engage in any other models of supervision. I have witnessed that the wisdom that comes from within the director is a crucial and significant part of the supervisory process. That is why the supervision process must begin with your own self-supervision. As you listen within and invite a developing inner sense around your session, a wider space begins to open up, allowing the potential for something new to emerge. This compassionate and contemplative space helps you grow in self-awareness, in self-understanding, and in interior freedom, which can expand your capacity to be present and attentive to those you serve. So, what is self-supervision, and how do you, as a spiritual director, employ this helpful and dynamic tool for your support and growth? As I said before, the self-supervision process helps you explore what's beneath the surface in order to better understand yourself and to better accompany your directees. It also helps you to acknowledge how the spirit is present and active in this particular spiritual direction relationship. So, what is this process like, and what are the benefits of self-supervision? I like to think of self-supervision as a process of prayer that allows you to check in with God and examine your practice of spiritual direction under God's loving gaze. This contemplative time invites you to rest in God as His beloved and surrender the energy of your session back to God. It is here that you recollect yourself in God, who is the ground of all compassion. Also, this self-supervision process allows you to see what the Spirit was up to in your session. Envision God and you lovingly looking together at various dimensions of your own personal experience before, during, and after your session. You can do this easily by using the Contemplative Reflection form, which I will call the CRF from hereafter, and use this as part of your examination. So let's look together at the Contemplative Reflection form and how to use it in self-supervision. The director can use questions from this CRF as a helpful tool to examine their experience of a particular session or of your practice in general. So I'm going to share my screen and show you the actual CRF form. As you can see, there are 5 sections to the informal contemplative reflection form. The first section is about you, The next section, as you can see here, is about the directee. Then it continues about the process, finally on to consultation, and then post-supervision reflections. So let's first look at this first section about you. This section starts with the examine. A spiritual director engaged in supervision will take time after a spiritual direction session to become aware and notice what transpired within a session and what continues to hold energy within themselves. This About You section is designed to help you become more aware of what might be influencing you. So pay special attention to these sections as you decide what to bring. Examples of what you might want to bring can be found in the instruction section, which is at the end of this document. You can see here that the parts in red give you examples of what you might bring and how you might utilize this question. Of particular importance in this section about you is question number 4. This question is designed to help you articulate what inner experience within you is leading you to bring this case to supervision. Individual and group supervision usually begins with revisiting this focus area. Now let's move to about the directee. These questions are designed to help you notice your directee's desires, movements within a session, noticing in particular the different dimensions and arenas that were explored together or ones that you might have missed. This is a particular time where you can note areas of consolation and freedom for the directee, or areas where you notice desolation, discouragement, or stagnation within them. It's also a place where you can notice any desires that the directee mentioned they wanted to explore, and any invitations that they sensed from God as they moved through the session. Particularly, question 8 and 9 talk about the different experiences that they noted during the session or that you witnessed. Body sensations, emotions, any thoughts or imaginative places of recalling images or metaphors, and any deep sense that they got, maybe a fresh noticing, something that surprised them. They also might have explored areas within themselves. They might have explored areas in a relationship with someone else, or in their community, church, or some other cultural structure. In direction, they lastly might have noticed some places that the environment itself, nature, or some sort of built environment ministered to them or spoke to them during their session. The next section we're going to look at then is about the process. These questions here are designed to highlight the dynamics that are operating between you and your directee. And these include parallel processes, movements of grace that you both might be experiencing together, any transference that might be operating between you in the session, and any relational challenges that might be influencing this particular session or the relationship itself. Lastly, as we move through to the consultation section of the CRF, we'll notice that these kinds of questions that emerge here are unlike the supervision focus in question 4. These consultation questions tend to focus more on the directee, more on your own skill building, or more on a problem that needs to be solved, an input that you might be looking for from the supervisor to navigate those questions. Lastly, at the end of the CRF, you'll notice this post-supervision reflection area. At the end of a self-supervision time, you may begin to discern that the directee might benefit further from bringing this session to an individual or group supervision. You may notice your own need for more support also. As directors, we face a range of emotional and practical challenges in this work. An individual and group supervision can provide you another compassionate and evocative space to share these unique demands of your vocation. Colleagues can listen to your own experiences and provide further feedback, helping you navigate ethical challenges and give you best possible care practices for your session. If you sense this need, you discern and present your prepared CRF, either formally or informally, in individual or group supervision. Sometimes you might even use what's called a reflective dialogue form, or RDF, when a particular part of the conversation in a session feels pregnant with opportunity for growth, or you find yourself needing more clarification around a certain part of the dialogue. This is what we call formal supervision, and that can be done either individually or in group as well. So this post-supervision reflection area is meant to be filled out after informal or formal supervision is received by you as a way to connect further with your learning. As you can see, self-supervision is a place where spiritual directors grow in learning to be self-reflective regarding their own strengths, limitations, and learning edges. Using the CRF in self-supervision creates a beautiful opportunity to identify if there is more here to explore than you may have currently been aware of. It is in this self-process of supervision that you are given the opportunity to explore how the Spirit moved in the session, how these movements have affected you and the directee, whether or not you noticed these movements, or if you might have even missed some that were important to the session. Caring for yourself in this way can remind you that this is work you do not do alone. In this safe space of examination with God, you are not simply directing yourself. Instead, you're being cared for by the Spirit as the ultimate director of the process. In this way, you honor your own experience of the session. This gift of self-care that you give to yourself can further cultivate your own reverence for this work, and is an incredibly loving act of generosity towards your directees. In our group supervision time, the presenter will electronically share this CRF via email 48 hours prior to meeting together in the group. This is in order to give each group member time to sit contemplatively with the presenter's reflections. Blessings upon you as you learn to utilize this important tool in your ministry of spiritual direction.